called as LR1 parser. Okay. So now this CLR parser that is there, as I mentioned and as we discussed that the number of states in this particular parser or for this particular parser increases. Okay. Why the number of states increases is because we consider a look ahead. So though like when I have explained that an item in this CLR parser is having two parts. One is called as the core part, other one is called as the look ahead part. So though there are states wherein the items look similar with regards to the core part, but still they cannot be called as same or equal because the look aheads are different, and this is what increases the number of states. But now here, though the number of states increases, still it proves to be a better parser than the earlier ones because it has a better string validating capability in terms of parsing the strings for a particular language. Okay. So now, as we have already discussed about this parser, how to go about. So we know that there are four steps in any of these parsers. First one is augmenting the grammar that we understood. Second is constructing the LR1 set of canonical set of LR1 items that also we have done. So today what we'll do is in this class we'll be discussing about the we'll be discussing about the CLR parsing table. Okay, so how do we construct CLR parsing table? So as I mentioned in the last class, that is when we met on Saturday, I told you that please see that you all go through the problems that we have solved because that's what we'll need in order to continue in the next class, that is today. Okay, so having done this, we'll quickly go through the algorithm. Is the PPT visible to you all? Please let me know. Okay. So we are here right now. Okay. All this part I've already done. We already done this and we've understood, right? For two grammars, we already done this. That is how do we add a look ahead to the production and so on. Okay. So now next thing is this was also done. That is this is the algorithm that I had mentioned about with regards to theory question. Like if it is asked, write the algorithm for construction of the canonical collection of LR1 items, then this is the algorithm. The same thing what I discussed to you all in very brief manner, just considering the main points, considering the items. How do you add the look aheads and so on. The next part is about the LR1 parsing table. Now the algorithm for LR1 parsing table takes the input in the form of the augmented grammar. Okay, and this augmented grammar input is taken, the various steps I applied, and what you expect as the output is a parsing table which consists of two major columns. One is called as action and other one is called as go to. And for every state, there will be some entries in the action and go to columns. So initially what you have to do is you need to have this that is given the augmented grammar. You need to construct the canonical collection of LR1 items, which we already did in the step number 2. Once we do this, that particular part, which is a first step over here in this algorithm, construct C dash equal to I0, I1, so on till In, the collection of sets of LR1 items. Once we are done with this, the next thing is we need to consider a particular state. So state I of the parser is constructed and all that is shown. So now the parsing action for this particular state, like suppose if you consider say state I0, then how you'll be making entries in the action and in the go to column. That is what is defined in the step number 2 over here. So what the step number 2 says is 2a, step 2a over here says that suppose if there is a shift action, just 1 minute. Okay, suppose if a derives alpha dot small a beta comma b is in II. Okay, so suppose if there is some particular item of this particular form in a particular state, and the go to, and you are applying the go to function. So if you are applying the go to function on some symbol small a. Now, which some symbol small a, the symbol which appears immediately after dot in that particular item. So if you see, it is a derives alpha dot small a beta comma b. That is the item, and we are applying a go to this particular state with that small a as the input, okay, as the transition input. Then what you get is some particular state ij. Now ij is the next state that you get after applying go to. So in this case, what you do is you set the action I comma a, that is the state number. Like for example, if you could just consider that your I subscript I, that I small I is say 0, okay, and let's say that you are applying the go to function on let's say that we have a production, we take the augmented production s dash gives dot s comma dollar. So in that case, what you do is you will be applying go to I0 comma small a. Now our small a will be nothing but that capital S which appears after dot in the augmented production. So go to I0 comma capital S will be equal to ij. Ij is nothing but the next state. So from I0 where we go normally is to state I1. So ij will be nothing but I1. So in that case, you have to set action of I comma a. So action of 0 comma capital S equal to shift j. Now this particular part, what is considered here is, it is considered for the action part. So now in this case, we cannot consider the first augmented production because it is having a capital S, right? So if there is some particular production or item in which the small a corresponds to a terminal, then you need to set the action of the I comma that particular terminal to shift j. So shift j is nothing but we write that as subscript some number, right? That is what it means over here. Here a must be a terminal. The second part, that is 2b, says that if you have some item of the form which is a final item, that is a derives alpha dot. The dot has already reached the end of the core part, comma the look ahead a. Suppose this particular item is there in some particular state, then what you do is such that the left hand side is not equal to the start symbol of the augmented production. Then what you do is you set the action as reduce a to a derives alpha dot. Okay, so basically what you need to do is you need to include the reduce actions. But now where we include those, that is more important. Just remember this point. Action I comma a to reduce a derives alpha dot. That means we include the reduce entries only under those terminals which are in the look ahead of a derives alpha dot. So a derives alpha dot is the item, comma a is the look ahead. So only in that particular, under that particular look ahead, will be including the reduce entries. Unlike in SLR1, what we were doing was we were including reduce entries under the follow set. That is a follow elements of the follow set of that particular non-terminal. Now what we are doing is we are including the reduce entries under the terminals which are appearing as look ahead in that respective production. In the third one, we know that if s dash gives s dot comma dollar is in some particular state, then we set action of that particular state comma dollar to accept, which is nothing but usually the state one. In case there are any conflicting actions, then it implies that it is not an LR1 grammar. Then the third step is the go-to part, that is the go-to column of the transition table. So suppose if the go-to transitions for state I are constructed for all non-terminals A using the rule if go-to of I comma A equal to Ij, then you directly set that particular entry equal to J. So we just write the number, right? We don't write S and some number. We just write the number. That's what the third rule says. Then fourth rule says that all entries not defined by rules 3 and 4 are made error. Now this implies or this refers to all those blank cells in the table. So blank cells are corresponding to errors. And lastly, the initial state of the parser is the one constructed from the set of items containing this particular item. That is s dash gives dot s comma dollar. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll switch to the whiteboard and we'll try to apply this particular algorithm. I believe that we have already solved the CLR parser for this grammar, and you all already have it in your books. Okay, so this is the grammar that we have solved till the canonical collection of LR1 items, the DFA of the LR1 items we have already drawn. Okay, so what we'll do is we continue with the parsing table as I had mentioned. So now before we continue with the parsing table, can someone recollect to compute the look aheads? What is required to compute the look ahead? What is required? How do you compute look ahead? Using what? Using which functions first? Okay. So using the first of the non-terminals, we are supposed to compute the look ahead. So let's proceed by starting the computation of first. I think we had already done also that part. So here what we'll have to compute is first of S, and we'll have to compute first of capital C. Now first of S is nothing but just a dollar, and first of C is C comma D. Sorry, first of S will be equal to C comma D only, right? Okay. So once we have done this, the next part is construction of the table. So let's begin. So this will be for small c. Next is small d. Then we have dollar S and C. Okay. So the first column is for state. The second column is for action. The next column is for go-to. Under action, we have C, D, dollar. Under go-to, we have capital S and capital C. Okay. Next, what we'll do is we'll note down the states. How many states did we get for this grammar? How many states did we get? 9. Okay. So 9 we'll have to write here. Okay, so let's begin. Let's refer to our respective notes and check for the LR1 items that we have already constructed in the previous class. Okay, so starting with state 0. So if you look at state 0, from state 0 on the input capital S, it goes to state 1. So as per the algorithm, if there is a non-terminal after the dot, then we consider its entry under the go-to column under that particular non-terminal. So under S, it will be appearing here as 1. Next, we can see that on capital C, from 0, it goes to 2. So, 2 will be entered over here. After that, we see that on small c, we go to 3. So on small c, when we go to 3, the entry will be made as shift 3. So it will be S3. Then then on input D, from 0 it goes to 4. So on input D on 0 it goes to 4. So it will be shift 4. So S4. Okay, I believe till here it should be fine to all of you, because we have solved many examples earlier also, wherein this particular step remains common in the parsing table construction algorithm. Okay. Next, what we'll do is we'll go to state 2. Okay, when we go to state 2, we can see that from state 2 there are 3 outgoing transitions on 3 symbols. One is capital C, other one is small c, small d. So state 2 on capital C goes to state 5. So we enter a 5 over here. Then on a small c, it goes to 6. So on a small c, it goes to 6. So it will be shift 6. On small d, it goes to 7. So it will be S7, that is shift 7 over here. Next is state 3. So state 3 is our current state now. So from state 3, we can see that on a capital C, we go to state 8. So state 3 on a capital C goes to state 8. So it will be a shift 8. So we write an 8 over here. Then C on a small c goes to 3 itself. So it will be shift 3. And C on a small d goes to state 4. So it will be shift 4. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll skip state 4, because state 4 is having a final item. Let's keep it on hold for some time. We'll go to state 5, but state 5 is also having a final item. So we'll keep it on hold for some time. We'll complete all the shift entries first. So 4, 5 on hold, go to 6. In the 6, we can see that on capital C it goes to 9. So 6 on capital C goes to 9. So it will be 9 over here. Then on small c, it goes to 6 itself. So shift 6, which is S6. And a small d, it goes to 7. So it will be S7 over here. Then next is state 7. Again, there is a final item, so it will be a reduce action. Then state 8 is a final item again, so reduce action. And state 9 is also a final item, so it will be a reduce action. Okay. So before we go to the reduce action, is this part of the algorithm for construction of parsing table clear to you all? Please let me know. because the reason I am stressing so much is because the next part, that is LA-LR table construction, is based on similar lines. If you understand this, LA-LR will be very easy. Okay, so let's continue since you have understood. So we have done the shift entries over here, till here. So now next is the reduce entries. Now to make the reduce entries, let's start from state 4. So in state 4, check for the final item. The final item is the final item in state 4 is nothing but production number 3 from the grammar. So state 4, we need to make the reduce entries. So till now we have seen that whether it was LR0, whether it was SLR1, we have seen that the reduce entries, the R entries are made such that we write R and we write some particular number along with R. So that number is nothing but the production number which is appearing in that particular state. So if we look at state number 4, we can see that it is production number 3 of the original grammar. So since that is the case, so what we have to do is we have to make R3 as the entry in the row number 4, that is state number 4. But where do we make that particular entry? That is a question. So let's just look at the algorithm. Looking at the algorithm, we can see that it says that if A derives alpha dot comma A is in II. Okay. So right now, I'll just write that particular I4 production, I4 item. It is C gives D dot comma C slash D. So what it says is if we have this particular item, A derives alpha dot comma A in II. So our II will be nothing but I4. Okay, so we have C derives D dot comma C or D in I4, which is equivalent to saying that as per algorithm, if A derives alpha dot comma A is in II, that is I4, such that A is not equal to S dash, that is the augmented production start symbol, then set action of I comma A to reduce A derives alpha dot. So you have to set the action of I comma A. I comma A means I comma the look ahead symbols. So which are the look aheads over here? We have two look aheads. This is the first look ahead and C is the first look ahead, D is the second look ahead. So under C and D, what we need to write is we need to write the production number of this. So production number of this is nothing but R3. We can see in the grammar on the left hand side of the whiteboard. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to make R3 entries under C and D in the row 4. So under C column, we have to make R3 as the entry. And under D, we have to make it as R3. Okay. So that's what the second step 2B says over here. If A derives alpha dot comma A is in II, where A is not equal to the start symbol of the augmented production, then set action of I comma A, that is action of I comma set number comma look ahead equal to reduce by that particular production. So under C and D, which is nothing but the look ahead over here, we have written R3. Okay. Next state in which we have reduced item, a final item, is state number 5. So in state number 5, we can see that it is S gives capital C small capital C dot. So that means we have to reduce by production number 1. So we have to reduce by production number 1, but only under dollar, because only dollar is the look ahead for that particular item. So it will be R1. Okay. Next is state number 7. In state number 7, we can see that there is a final item. C gives D dot, which is the production number 3, but the look ahead is just a dollar. So in state 7, under dollar, we'll have to write R3, because the production is C gives D dot, which is a item C gives D dot, which is nothing but the production number 3, but the look ahead is just a single symbol, that is dollar. So R3 will come under dollar. Next is state number 8, in which we have an item C gives small c capital C dot comma to look ahead C or D. That means under C and D we need to write the reduce entry for that particular item corresponding to production number 2. So it will be R2 over here and R2 over here, R2 over here as well. And finally, the 9th state, we have C gives small c capital C dot under dollar. So that will be coming under dollar as R2. Okay, so this completes our parsing table, the CLR parsing table, or the LR1 parsing table, as it is called.
So,
Any doubts? Please let me know. Yes, Tanisha.
so we aren't augmenting it and then numbering.
What?
So we are not augmenting first, then numbering.
We are numbering the original grammar. The reason we are not augmenting and numbering. Somewhere I had done that numbering the augmented grammar, but that was just when I was explaining to you all how to compute the look ahead, because I had to refer to those particular items as how to compute the look ahead for item 2 from item 1. So that's the reason I had numbered those items as 1, 2. That was in the Saturday's class. But when we are making the reduce entries, we have to number the productions of the original grammar. So that's how those reduce entries are made, referring to the original grammar. Because if you can see that we are not using S dash in the parsing table, we are not making any entry for S dash. We're just doing only for the original grammar symbols, terminals and non-terminals.
So is it for all? LR
Huh?
also. It is for LR also.
Yeah. Any doubts in how we are making the entries for, the reduce entries? Is it clear? As in how it is differing from the earlier ones. We started with LR0 parser by making entries across the entire row where corresponding or under the columns of all the terminals. Then we made an improvement because there was shift reduce conflict occurring. So when we migrated to SLR1 parser, we made the reduce entries only under the follow set of that particular non-terminal, which is there as the final item. But still in SLR we saw that for one of the grammars there was a shift reduce conflict. So now in CLR what was done was a look ahead was considered, so that you can look into the string further ahead by one symbol and then decide whether to perform a shift or whether to perform a reduce, and thereby we are hoping that there won't be any shift reduce conflicts. Okay, and what we are doing here is we are making the reduce entries only under the look ahead symbols of that particular item. Okay, so this is the difference that we have seen across the 3 parsing table construction algorithms. As I had mentioned, for LR0 and SLR1, the first 2 steps are common and the last 4th step is common, parsing of a string. What differs is the 3rd step, which is parsing table construction algorithm. When you are going further ahead, CLR and LALR, the differences in the similarity is that augmenting grammar and construction of LR1 items remain the same. What differs is the parsing table construction algorithm. And the last step, that is fourth step, is definitely common across all the parsers, that is parsing the string. Okay. Right now, should I consider that you all have understood the parsing table construction right now, what we did? Shall we go ahead with the next example? The next example which we had taken in the class itself. Okay, fine. So let's solve the next one. Probably many of you must have started also solving over there. This. Okay, so the second grammar that we had taken was S gives L equal to R. L gives star R. I'll just check. Okay. S gives L equal to R. S gives R. L gives star R. L gives ID. R gives L. Okay. So this is a grammar that we had constructed as the second problem, wherein we had to construct the LR1, or also called as a CLR parsing table for this. Okay. The LR1 item sets we already constructed. We have constructed the DFA also along with that, right? So let's begin with the parsing table. Now let's see how many states this. But okay, I think so that we have already seen there are 13 states that are generated. Okay. So let's start with the table. Okay, before that I need to number this. This is 1. This is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so where do we begin? First is state column, second is action. Under action, we need to write all the terminals. So there are 3 terminals equal to star ID, and along with this we write the dollar. In the earlier one, just one thing we missed out. You all also didn't tell me. Under dollar in row number 1, we need to write except. Okay. Then next is the goto part. So in goto we have S, L, and R as the 3 non-terminals in the given grammar. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remaining will write later. Okay, so let's begin. Just 1 minute. Okay, so let's begin. Refer the state diagram that we already constructed in the earlier class. So we can see that from 0 on capital S, it goes to 1. So the entry that we'll be making here is 1. Then on capital L from 0, we go to 2. So it will be 2 over here. And on capital R, it will go to 3. So it will be 3 over here. Next is on star. On star it goes to 4. So when on star it goes to 4, it implies a shift action. So it will be S4. So on star it goes to 4. So S4. Then on ID it goes to 5. So it will be S5. Okay. The next thing is I'll write it now itself. Under dollar it is accept. Next thing is under in state 2. So we need to check for state 2. From state 2 we have one transition which goes out, that is on equal to. So on equal to it goes to state 6. So on equal to, since it goes to state 6, it implies a shift entry. So it will be S6 under equal to. Okay. Now why it is on S6 under equal to is because there is a transition or shift from S2 to S6 or I2 to I6 on equal to. But at the same time, we can see that in I2, there is a final item. There is an item that is R gives L dot comma dollar. Now since this is a final item, it implies it is a reduce. So reduce by, this is the 5th production, so reduce by 5, which is nothing but R5. Where we make the R5 entry? We make the R5 entry under dollar. Okay, so we can see that since it is a reduce, so reduce has to come under that particular look ahead symbol. So look ahead symbol is dollar. So we can see that we are making our reduced by production number 5. So R5 under dollar in the row number 2. Okay. So okay. So we have made the entry under dollar in R5 in state 2 row. Okay, we'll proceed ahead and we'll see what more we get. Then when we are currently in state 3, we can see it is a final item, so we'll make the entry later. State 4, we can see that there are transitions which are going outwards. On capital R, there is a transition to 7, so we write 7 under capital R in state 3. Then under L, we can see that there is a transition from 4 to 8. So we'll write 8 under the column L. Then we can see that on star, there is a shift to I4 itself. So under star, we'll be writing S4. Then under ID, we can see that there is a shift from 4 to 5. So 4 to 5, there is a shift. So it will be S5 in the ID column corresponding to row 3. Okay. So we get S4, S5, 8 and 7. Then in state 7, then in state 4, you can see there is a final, no, this is, sorry. I think so I did a wrong entry. It should be state 4, whatever we did. We had skipped state 3, right? So this will be in state 4 only. So, okay. Because we had skipped state 3, considering the final item. So that's fine. State 5, we can see there is a final item again, so we cannot make an entry over there. We'll skip that and we'll go to state 6. So state 6, we can see that there is a transition from state 6 on capital R to 9. So state 6 capital, under capital R, we go to 9. So we write a 9 over here. Then under L, capital L, we can see that it goes to 10. So capital L, it goes to 10. And under star, it goes to 11. Under star, it goes to 11. So since it is terminal, since it is an action, so it will be S11 over here. And under ID, on ID it goes to 12, so it will be S12. Okay. When we go to state 7, we see there is a final item, we cannot make any entry. State 8, we cannot make any entry right now. We'll keep it on hold. State 9 also, we cannot make entry. 10 also, same thing. We have to go directly to state number 11. So let's see how it goes for state 11. I think state 11 we can make the shift entries. As I said, we are just doing the shift entries first. We are keeping the reduce entries in the end in order to understand it better. So please do not get confused. You can do it in sequence also. There is no harm in that. But I'm just trying to cover step number 2A first. So 2A and the third step, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. There are 13 steps, right? 13 states, sorry. Okay, so state numbers 7, 8, 9 and 10 have just the final items. There are no shift entries. So we go directly to state number 11. From state 11, we go to 13 on a capital R. On capital R, we go to 13. So it will be S13. Sorry. It is capital R, so it will be just a 13 over here. Then on star, it goes to 11 itself. On star, it goes to 11 means, and under star column, we'll have S11. Under ID, it goes to 12, so it will be S12. And I think that's it. Okay. So we have completed the shift entries for all the shift and the go to entries for all. Now what remains is reduce. So reduce what the states for which we need to make entries, which we have kept on hold for now are 3, 5, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 and 13. As and when we are completing the states, I'll just strike off each of the state, each of these numbers over here. So visiting state number 3. In state number 3, we can see that there is a final item which is corresponding to the second production, and there is a look ahead of dollar. So what we'll do here is we'll write R2 under dollar in row number 3. Then state 5, we can see that there is state 5, we can see that there is a final item which corresponds to production number 4. State 5, there is an item corresponding to production number 4. So we write R4 for the look ahead equal to. So R4 will come here. And 6, we already done entries. Inside 6, there is no final item. So we go to state 7. State 7, we can see that there is a reduction by production number 3 using the look ahead equal to. So under equal to, we'll be writing R3 in 7. Then 8, we can see that there is a reduction by production number 5. So we'll write R5 under equal to because the look ahead is equal to. Then state 9, we can see that there is a reduction by production number 1 using the look ahead dollar. So in state 9 under dollar, we'll be writing R1. Then state 10, there is a reduction by the 5th production under dollar. So look ahead is dollar. So under dollar, we'll be writing R5. State 11, there is no reduce of final item. So go next to 12. In 12, we can see there is a reduction by production number 4. So it will be R4 and look ahead is dollar. So R4 under dollar. And lastly, state number 13, it is a final item corresponding to production number 3. So it will be R3 under the look ahead dollar. Okay. So is it clear? So what we did is, so we have covered up all the states as I mentioned. 3 is done, 5 is done, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So all the reduced entries are made, and this is our final parsing table. Mahib is asking it should come in 4 and not in 3. Mahib, can you tell me which one you are referring to? I did not see your message first. It should come in 4 and not in 3. Should come in 4. Mahiba, which one are you referring to? 4 and 3. It should come in 4, but not in 3. In 4, I don't think so there is any final item, right? In parsing table, you had typed 4 entries in 3, but okay. So now it is fine, right? Okay, fine. So I believe the construction of CLR parsing table is clear to all of you all. Any doubts? Any queries? Any doubts? I don't think so. Should be clear. If any doubts, please let me know. Otherwise, as I said that I don't think so. So you all don't keep quiet over it. I had given you all some additional problems also to complete the LR1 items. Okay, I believe that you all have completed those problems and understood, of course, what we are doing right now. So what you all can do is you all can apply the parsing construction of parsing table algorithm to those examples and try solving it. Okay. Additionally, what you all can do is I'll just write one grammar. This also we have solved earlier, long time back, probably for SLR1 and LR0 also. So we all solve for this also, the CLR algorithms for LR1 item construction and parsing table. The grammar is A derives AA and A derives A. Okay. So what you all do is, for this grammar, you all construct the parsing table and parse the string the same string that we had taken earlier for, I believe, SLR1 parser. Okay. As I told you earlier that the parsing of string algorithm remains the same. And you all had also agreed saying that you all already know how to parse a string. So for parsing the string, it is just about referring the parsing table of that respective parser and then doing the parsing of that string, wherein you are just either performing a shift or a reduce depending on the parsing table actions. Clear? Any doubts in this? The next class that will begin at 11:30 will also be CC only. Okay. So what we'll be doing in the next class is LALR parser. Okay. So we'll get a short break of around 15 minutes now in between. So what we'll do is we'll meaning what y'all can do is y'all can go through these solutions that we have got now and try to solve it. You can solve this only, the problem that I just gave. A gives open bracket capital A small capital A closing bracket and A gives small a. Try to solve this in the meantime, and then we can join back at 11:30. Okay, so I'll see you all at 11:30 for the next class. Fine. What I'm doing here right now is I'll be ending this meeting because before that I'll record the attendance. Okay, so I've recorded the attendance here. I'll be ending this meeting over here because I think you can see that these sheets we can generate the attendance sheets from here. So I want the sheets for the two hours separately. So that's the reason I'll be ending the meeting here, and then we can join back at 11:30. Okay. So I'll see you all at 11:30. But please try to solve the problems in the meantime, and in case of any queries, you can let me know at 11:30. Okay. So see you all.